how to reach your home management goals with sustainable systems. A system, it's simply a way of organizing the way something is done. And it can really be as strict or as flexible as you want. It can be a step-by-step process, or it can be a loose routine. It's really which way serves you best and is going to help you reach your goals and keep your priorities at the top of your to-do list. So what does a system look like? It can be a routine, such as a morning routine. It can be a specific process. For example, maybe you have a specific cleaning process that you go through. And it can even look like a schedule and how you organize your days and your weeks. Maybe you have a specific day of the week that you run your errands and a specific day of the week for something else. All of these things could be categorized as a system. And before we create those systems, though, I like to take a step back and talk about crafting a vision and goals for your home. Because otherwise you may get frustrated by your systems if they're not moving you closer to your goals and helping you create and get closer to the vision that you have. So I like to start with more of a broad vision, and the first step would be to envision what you want your home to look and feel like, both aesthetically, maybe emotionally, and just all of the ways that you really envision your home, so then that you can take that vision and create goals. But you also want to consider what your top priorities are. What matters most to you right now? And this may change with each season, but for right now, I would list out a few priorities that you want to keep top of mind, just both for your home and in your life. When you're also creating systems in your home, what bothers you most when it's not done? And this is going to vary from person to person, but as we're prioritizing the systems, we want to prioritize what matters most that gets done. Maybe it really bothers you when there's dishes in the sink, so we want to prioritize getting those kitchen systems set up. Or maybe it's the laundry that really bugs you when it's sitting in piles. So maybe we need to prioritize that sort of system. Then taking into consideration your vision, your priorities, and what really matters most to you, then we take all of those and create some solid goals that will help you achieve that vision. All right, so let's talk about what makes a good goal. First of all, it needs to be the right size. And this is exactly why I like quarterly goals. A couple years ago, I switched from yearly goals to quarterly goals, and it has made such a huge difference. I like that they're not too big, but there's still time for it to be big enough to work towards. It also needs to be detailed and specific, because if it's not specific enough, it's way too easy to kind of procrastinate and just not get it done because you don't have those action steps that you know is going to help you reach that goal. And finally, your goal needs to be relevant to those priorities. And it needs to be relevant to your priorities right now for where you're at in your life, because your goals need to serve you where you're at right now so that you can grow. So let's real quick talk about my favorite way to set goals. I'm a huge fan of quarterly goals. And then I like to take that quarterly goal and break it down into 3 monthly milestones. And for each milestone, I'll go to my weekly objectives and take those weekly objectives and add it to my daily task list. So once you have your vision and your goals established, let's switch gears back to those systems that are going to help us. So what do these systems do? They support you in reaching your goals, and they also support your day-to-day household management. Even if you don't have specific home goals, setting up systems to manage your house easier is going to free up that time and mental headspace that you spend trying to keep your house in order, so that you'll have a little bit more energy to put towards what goals you do have. How to set up your systems. First, determine your objective. What are you really trying to accomplish with this system? And then, what are the steps? List them all out on a piece of paper. And you don't have to worry about them getting in the correct order at first. You can always rewrite it, but just start brainstorming what your system is going to include. And then start with the most basic and simple steps, because it's going to be so much easier if you just have a nice basic system to start off with. Because remember, when we first started, my favorite saying is, if it's not simple, it's not sustainable. Then once that system becomes a habit, you can start adding to it. And another quick tip here is to add those simple steps you're going to start with onto something that's already a habit. That's called habit stacking, and that makes it just a little bit easier to set up new habits when you're just adding on to something that's already there. And that's kind of what we're doing with this step as well, starting with the simple basic steps and adding to it later on. Finally, schedule when it's going to happen. You need to know when your system is going to take place. Attaching it to a current habit is a great idea, and I also recommend putting a reminder or an event in your calendar so that you have a reminder and you know exactly when your system is going to happen. Here are just a few of my favorite home management systems that I have created and I like to refer to make that home management easier. First of all is cleaning. I like to know what I'm going to do on which day and have a process that I follow, so that I'm not like wandering around just randomly cleaning things. I have a process to follow so that I can get it done as quickly as possible. Also, meal planning and prep. I love to have a rotating menu plan in place, and I like to do some light prep for the week on Sunday afternoons so that it saves me a little bit of time on weeknights. Financial management. This can include a budget, but it can also include those finance meetings with your partner just to be on the same page, work on your financial goals, and all those sorts of things can be set up in their own system that reminds you to be vigilant in that area. A decluttering system, because it always seems to creep back in, right? So when it's time to do a big declutter, you can set up a system to go through your house. And I also like to have a few things in place to help keep things decluttered, like having that donation box in a closet and being careful of what comes into the house. So just little things like that can be their own system. And planning and goal setting, these are some of my favorite systems because I love goals and planning. But I always review my goals. I set goals each quarter and review them periodically, especially then as I plan. I make sure I have a weekly plan in place going into the week. So those are just some of my favorites, but you can create these in a way that works for you. You can create other ones. It's really up to you. They're totally customizable for whatever works for where you are at in life right now. Okay, so here's an example of just setting up a cleaning system. Okay, first of all, you could organize all of your cleaning supplies so you know what you have and where it's located. And then list out all of your weekly cleaning tasks and list out all of the daily cleaning tasks. Determine what time of day you're going to do all your daily tasks and decide if you'll do all of your weekly tasks in one day or split it up between days. And then remember to attach your new system to a current habit for easier implementation. And then maybe once you have all of that done, it could look a little something like this. You could do your daily tasks A, B, and C after breakfast, and daily tasks X, Y, and Z after dinner. And then maybe you do all of those weekly tasks on Saturday mornings after breakfast. So this is just a simple way that you could set it up. It could be a little more in depth than this, but this is kind of like a base model, if you will, of how you could set something up just so you know what needs done and when, and implementing it as part of your daily routines.